Inaugural Award for Excellence in Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the Culture Club.
KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson, celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus. Cars Plus Finish Line Express is now open at Cars Plus in Mighty. The state-of-the-art car wash is now open 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. McDonald's of Guam. I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime.
Could this be the answer to Guam's growing homeless population? The administration, mayors, and attorney general announced the Homeless Relocation Initiative. I'm Mitsuki Hirayama with the report.
What is it going to take to make you feel safe? Leaders from the Guam Police Department taking a hot seat before the Public Safety Oversight Chair today. I'm Julian Hernandez with the story unfolding at the Guam Congress Building.
The CNMI government ejecting from an $8 million sole source government contract inked by the former administration with one new airliner. I'm Tomas Manglona speaking with its president and their only competitor.
Hafid and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Thanks so much for joining us and happy Fresco Friday.
Well, you may have noticed a big sign posted along Route 1 Marine Corps Drive across the Micronesia Mall. It was put there by the AG's office. The notice giving those staying at that homeless encampment in Dededo less than 5 days now to leave the area.
Call it an eviction notice. Elected officials say it's all part of their homeless relocation initiative. Mitsuki Hirayama has more.
Being homeless is not a crime.
Lieutenant Governor Joshua Tenorio saying that the same day a major homeless initiative is rolled out. An initiative that comes as those living in the homeless encampments across the Micronesia Mall in Dededo now have less than 5 days to pack up and leave or could face getting arrested. Chief Prosecutor Heather Zona.
In an instance where somebody is refusing to leave, they are then breaking the law. So we will have the police standing by. The police will be the ones to arrest, and then our office will prosecute as appropriate.
The AG's office taking legal measures, posting a warning notice for them to vacate the premises, citing criminal trespass and public nuisance laws. Guam Attorney General Doug Moylan, the Lieutenant Governor, and Dededo Mayor Melissa Savares announcing the Homeless Relocation Initiative during a press conference at the AG's office earlier today.
The program initiative was intended to relocate, as the initiative states, these people from the current locations that they're at throughout the island to alternate locations and to receive the help that they need in order to get back on their feet.
Tenorio saying those living on the streets are being directed to the Dededo Farmers Market where they can receive assistance from various organizations.
In a few days after the 5-day notice, we will have a team assembled on the farmers market with the mayor. Whoever is left at that encampment will be there. We will have wraparound services so we can identify who they are, see where they are in the system, and try and find them proper placement.
But one man living at the homeless encampment site tells KUAM he was told something completely different.
They said, you see the old field market then? That's where they're going to stay, you know. The guy was telling these guys, you know, they can get help, I don't know. You know, I'm speaking that they need help because they don't have a place and they're being homeless, you know. You know, it's hard for them to be homeless.
The man wishing to remain anonymous.
We're trying to get all these people, you know, to help them out, to move all their stuff out and think where they're going to stay, you know, around the area, you know, there to do, you know, more closer so they can be safe, you know. Not for them to get hurt.
All he's hoping for is a safe place to call home. Meantime, Guam Homeless Coalition Chair Samantha Taitano says with homeless shelters at full capacity, relocating them is not so black and white.
The question about relocating, where are we going to relocate them to, sometimes it's not as easy as finding a friend or family. And like I said, the shelters are at capacity and have waiting lists. And so it might mean that you say you can't be here anymore, and then they just pop up somewhere else.
Last year's point-in-time count homeless survey reporting 1,087 people experiencing homelessness. Matsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
From crime, drugs to the canine unit, the Guam Police Department discussed a myriad of critical issues during a roundtable before the Legislative Public Safety Committee this afternoon.
KUAM's Julian Hernandez has more.
I got money to hire bodies. I don't have the bodies to hire.
That's Guam Police Chief Stephen Ignacio one day before today's Public Safety Roundtable. Ignacio highlighting how his officers solved the recent robbery cases, along with seizing 200 pounds of meth over the past couple of years. But the biggest problem still continues to be manpower. Ignacio telling senators if hiring wasn't already difficult, retention adds to the staffing woes.
When considering the general pay plan structure as it currently stands, please consider this. Some of my employees earn only $11 an hour. With the cost of living increasing on our island, can anyone really survive on that salary?
The talk including other law enforcement agencies as well. But Ignacio didn't waste the opportunity to tell his oversight chair, Senator Chris Barnett, his wants and needs.
We're going to be surgical and give an increase specifically to Guam Police Department for recruitment and retention. Throw out a number. What could we work with? What do you think would be beneficial in helping you not just attract officers, but keep them?
If you want, we can present you some numbers later on, but because I don't want to just put a number out of the air at this point. But yeah, really, I advocate for a Guam Police Department only pay increase.
A direct ask, but only time will tell if GPD officers will get the pay boosts to protect and serve. Julian Hernandez, KUAM News.
The Guam Visitors Bureau has taken a step forward in trying to resolve a high-profile power struggle. Today, the GVB membership electing 4 new board members. They are Paula Monk, Sales Manager for Guam and Micronesia United Airlines, George Chu, Executive Vice President of TAN Holdings, Joaquin Cook, President and CEO of Bank of Guam, and Jeff Jones, Chief Operating Officer of Triple J.
GVB has been mired in controversy since last May when President Carl Gutierrez called out certain board members for improper conflicts of interest. Gutierrez addressed the members before the vote.
I think that what has gone on over the last few months, several months, I think was not necessarily necessary, but in some essence was necessary. I think that as we move forward here now, for us to continue to work together for the betterment of our tourism industry, that it's important that we get together and to forge a new relationship so that we understand that what was done in the past that was not necessarily correct would be corrected and moving forward. So how do we do that? We do that with that one word I love, that's magnanimity. I think it works both ways. I think we can do it, and I think that as we move forward, that Guam is going to be for the better.
At Gutierrez's direction, the board policies were reviewed to determine if they conformed with GVB's enabling statute. A revised policy was drafted, which he says corrects past issues. It now awaits a vote by the full membership. No word yet when that will be.
Well, the students at Guam High will help us toss to our first break.
Take it away.
We are Guam High School. You're watching KUAM News. We'll be right back.
Half a Day Fresco Fridays on KUAM News. Presented by Fresco Clothing, original custom design apparel of Guam and the Marianas. Located in Hagåtña, just across from the Gani Shopping Center.
The wait is over, Guam. The all-new state-of-the-art car wash is now open at Cars Plus. Introducing Finish Line Express, open 7 days a week. The all-new cashless drive-through car wash is also the largest car wash on island that can accommodate vehicles such as lifted Jeeps and full-size pickup trucks. Just roll up, pick a wash, insert credit card, or show your EverWash app and roll through. Plus, power vacuums are available to clean the interior. Show your vehicle some love today at the all-new car wash at Cars Plus in Mighty. Open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels, that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
North Korea today reportedly test-fired 4 strategic cruise missiles as a show of their ability to execute a nuclear counterattack against enemy forces. This is the latest round of reported launches in the past week.
Fortunately, the recent missile launches have not been a threat to our region, but sets a clear reminder of what we saw back in 2017 to be prepared for the unexpected. Hundreds of notices issued locally since the direct threat from North Korea was made to Guam 6 years ago. The advisory from Guam Homeland Security Office of Civil Defense constantly showing that the launches since 2017 posed zero threat to our island.
The United States also is very much paying a lot of attention here in trying to fortify and trying to surround us with defense system and national security. So I am very confident in the protection of our people here.
Governor Lulian Guerrero reassuring the community that despite recent international reports of the activity out of North Korea, Guam is well protected.
Those missiles, as you know, are being tracked.
In the past week, North Korea fired 2 more ballistic missiles off its east coast, and just today, state media reporting the North test-fired 4 strategic cruise missiles during a drill designed to demonstrate its ability to conduct a nuclear counterattack against hostile forces. Officials on Guam, meantime, continue monitoring the activity.
There's been no change in our threat level, but we do continue to push out notices when we see that there's any type of activity with any foreign nation state, including North Korea.
Guam Homeland Security spokesperson Jenna Blas says they continue to take an all hazards and all threats approach to any emergency situation.
We do have what's called a state warning point, which is housed here at Guam Homeland Security Civil Defense. They serve as a state warning point for the whole territory.
The effort is manned 24/7 around the clock to monitor potential threats and issue timely reports to the community. The latest round of launches from the North also a reminder of the threats in 2017 when the island was given guidance on how to stay ready should a missile head our way.
Roughly 14 minutes, which is not a lot of time to prepare for any type of threat. So it's important that we make sure our notices are timely and up to date. The very first thing you can do is make your family emergency kit, making sure that you have all of the supplies that you would need if you needed to evacuate quickly or if you needed to shelter in place at home. All of the supplies that you would need to sustain for at least 7 to 10 days.
The All Hazards Alert Warning System is also in place, being tested monthly. For a full list of preparedness kits, go to ghs.guam.gov. The government of Guam's often criticized procurement system was up for discussion again this week.
A public hearing was held Thursday on several bills, including a measure by Committee Chair Sabina Perez meant to expedite bid protests specifically for critical high-value contracts. Nestor Lecanto reports.
It's a complicated issue public officials have been weighing for quite a while. How to strike a balance between an agency's urgent procurement needs and a contractor's right to challenge awards they believe were improper.
So although protests are an essential part of the procurement process, Bill 36-37 was created in response to concerns of the delay and inability to accomplish capital improvement projects due to lengthy protests with a potential added challenge of looming expiration of federal funding.
Public Auditor B.J. Cruz supports the bill with certain changes.
It should be clearly stated in the procurement solicitation that it is a critical procurement and that any protest relative to the procurement will be treated in a special expedited process.
Attorney John Brown is a longtime procurement law specialist.
Everybody's going to want to do it this way. They're not going to want to go through the procurement protest method because this basically escapes that agency level review, and that could get burdensome after a while.
GPA legal counsel Graham Botha cites a recent example of a renewable energy contract that was delayed by a protest. They won, but it took 16 months in court to resolve.
GPA attempted to reinstate the award. However, the successful bidder refused the original project pricing, arguing that prices had increased after the 2 years that elapsed since the initial award.
They figure it costs ratepayers about $17 million in potential savings. Attorney Anthony Camacho also has extensive background in government procurement. He says what really should be addressed is the automatic stay.
The real delay, once again, is the Superior Court of Guam, which might take anywhere up to a year and a half to decide the case. It does serve a purpose, but where's the balance? Well, I think the balance really is at what point does the automatic stay no longer become automatic? And I think that point should be after the OPA issues his decision.
At that point, the procurement could proceed while a protest continues. Nestor Lecanto, KUAM News.
The CNMI making its own course correction, terminating a multi-million-dollar contract with Mariana's Southern Airways.
The company's future now experiencing some turbulence. Regional correspondent Tomas Manglotnia speaks to the president and his competitor. Here's more.
If I knew that this would have happened, we would have never started the airline.
NMI Governor Arno Palacios terminating an $8 million sole source contract with Mariana Southern Airways, inked by then Governor Ralph Torres, meant to boost the economy using American Rescue Plan federal funds to provide air and cargo passenger service in the Marianas.
I'm not exactly sure what happened here. I'm sensing it might be more political than anything, but unfortunately, it's going to be the people of CNMI that's going to, be hit the worst.
Stewart says Torres approached him in December 2021 when Star Marianas, which used to be the only inter-island airliner, temporarily halted its flights.
There was no, odd deals here. Nothing went on that was going and unique. The situation was there was an emergency issue. And what the administration at that time was doing was going and solving the issue to ensure that there would be another airline here that could go and provide service if something ever happened.
But the president of Star Marianas says it's not that simple. Sean Christian says ongoing litigation in local court about alleged illegal landing fees, a terminated airport use agreement, and the pressure to transport COVID-positive patients from Rota and Tinian to Saipan without promise of quarantining its employees created a perfect storm they could not fly in.
The risks associated with operating at that time in the CNMI led us to temporarily suspend operations until we could try and get some of these issues resolved. What we find to be rather interesting is that a sole source contract was entered into with a local entity that doesn't even have an air carrier certificate, this MP Enterprises.
MP Enterprises and Southern Airways each own half of Mariana Pacific Express, doing business as Mariana Southern Airways. But Stewart says the deal is by the book, having been reviewed by the Attorney General's Office, Division of Procurement and Supply, and the Secretary of Finance.
It's extremely disappointing that the governor had the letter sent canceling the agreement. We are still looking and don't believe that ultimately that will be the end decision that the administration will make.
He believes the use of ARPA funds was appropriate and their intention was to revive the economy.
Canceling this contract or not, going and reinstituting it, we think is going to be a big mistake. In just the first 6 months or so of service, we'd flown 10,000 passengers on our planes. We had saved CNMI passengers over $600,000 when comparing our rates to competitive rates that were there.
But now MSA's savings are at risk. They said they notified Palacios in December during the transition that they needed funds. The last payments totaling $2.4 million were made in August and November.
Because of the lack of payments, we have not moved forward with purchasing more planes. We actually had contracts signed and stopped them as a result of the payments or lack of payments.
He says they're losing money now.
There's no other airline in the entire world that would have come and done what Southern and us have done.
Stewart expects to meet with the governor today after speaking with legislators this week. Tomas Manglonia, KUAM News, Saipan.
Now for a look at your world at home. Here's a view captured from Hoover Beach Park in Pidi.
And another group of students at Guam High to take us into our next break.
We are Guam High School. You're watching Primetime. Sports is next.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Guam is truly a majestic place with its sheer natural beauty, wealth of beaches, and culturally rich landscape. Unfortunately, Guam has a real problem with unwanted invasive species. Help us in preventing their introduction and spread. The coconut rhinoceros beetle, the little fire ant, the African snail, Siam weed. These are just a few of the numerous invasives on Guam. Follow proper custom procedures when bringing plants and animals into Guam.
Help protect Guam. Tell your family and friends about invasive species.
To report invasive species, call 475-PEST.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Welcome to KUAM Sports. Now time to check in with our partners at Clutch Guam.
Here's the final score.
I'll never take it for granted now, you know, especially nearing the end of my playing career. So it's big, bro. It's big for me, it's big for Guam, it's big for a lot of these guys, you know what I mean? So especially the young ones coming up, they get to get that experience. And like I said, these should be 3 good games. 2, I think, are gonna be really tough, just judging off the competition, but it's big, it's real big. I think they're gonna see guys come out, trying to get in the groove, but definitely gonna play hard. You're gonna see some real talented starting 5 with this Guam team, man. So I think Galloway gonna put on a little show.
Feeling good, man. Feeling confident. We got the whole squad here, man. So like I said, we got game 1 tomorrow. Should handle business, man. So feeling good, man. Feeling confident. Like I said, we're ready to go, man. Ready to get game 1 over with. Oh man, it means a lot. Like I said, man, just representing family and the people in Guam, man, the whole island of Guam, man. Just trying to get to the next level, and once we get to that next level, we should take care of business over there. My name's Darren Hechinova, number 22, point guard for Guam. Looking to take on the Dubs, bring it back to the island.
What's up, Guam? My name's Joe Blas, captain of the Guam basketball team, shooting guard.
Catch the final score right here on KUAM Sports on Monday.
Your birthday shoutouts coming up next.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa. You can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Feed Me Fridays edition of So Good. Try us and make your Friday so good.
Off a day, guys. Welcome back to another segment of Feed Me Fridays. My name is Curtis.
My name is Darby, and today we're at Honolulu Coffee. Curtis, what do we have here today?
So right here we have the Kona cream pancake and the almond latte.
Ooh, dude, this looks super good.
Yeah, I can't wait
let's
to try
go try it out.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go try this drink first.
Go for it. I'm gonna just
Cut
open
it.
this and prepare.
Cut it. No,
okay, you want me to cut it?
Cut
Okay,
it.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut out a piece right now.
Forget the ice cream. Ooh,
Oh, is this
really
ice cream?
good. This almond latte, I actually got it with non-dairy milk, brought to you by So Good.
Okay. Sounds good.
For all of you guys who are lactose intolerant, very delicious, can't even tell the difference. Very good. Very good.
Alright, I'm gonna
So,
give this a
how
try
is
right
it?
now. Yo, that's really good. You know, it kind of tastes like coffee ice cream.
Ooh.
It kind of tastes like that.
Ooh, you're making me curious. Let's go try
It's
it
really
out.
good.
Yum.
And the pancake is really fluffy, yo. This is really good.
Let's go try it. So we're at the Honolulu Coffee in Tumon Plaza. The right in the middle court. Ooh, okay. I get what you mean. It kind of tastes like it's like a coffee cake, you know, like the kind of cake that you usually like drink with like your hot coffee. Very delicious.
And I think this is ice cream right here. This is good too. I think it's just vanilla though. But it blends really well because I think this cream is like coffee. So this is what gives it the coffee
The
taste.
cream, right?
Yeah,
it's really good. I think the chocolate drizzle too adds a little taste to like the texture of it. So you have the strong coffee taste from the cream, and then you get hit with a chocolate drizzle. Super good.
It goes really well with the pancake too. It's like
Yeah.
because the pancake is like so soft. It's so good.
Definitely perfect with a hot coffee.
Yeah.
Well, also what we have here is Honolulu Coffee actually has merch, and they have this Guam blend, specifically Guam, and it's very convenient too because it's just put it on top of your mug, water on it, and that's it.
Very easy to make.
Honolulu Coffee is open at Tumon Sands from Monday to Thursday, 10 to 4 p.m.
And from Friday to Sunday, they're open from 10 to 5 p.m.
And also down the road at Tumon Plaza, and they're open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every single day.
Thank you guys so much for watching this segment of Feed Me Fridays brought to you by So Good.
Okay, we'll catch you guys next time. My name is Darby.
And my name is Curtis.
See ya. Feed Me Fridays edition of So Good. Try us and make your Friday so good.
Darby and Curtis coming through with the goods there.
I know, that pancake looks so good.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
I know, guys. Come on.
Well, Desi, it was an exciting day for us, huh?
It really was.
We got to share what we do here at KUAM with some of Guam's youngsters.
It was so much fun breaking away from the busy news day to hang out with the students at PC Lujan Elementary. We appreciate all the students, teachers, and staff for having us today. And thank you all for being great listeners. We had the best time.
Yeah, we sure did. Well, finally tonight, your Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club shoutouts that was submitted on KUAM.com.
And it's Friday, time to see who the lucky winner of a yummy Cold Stone Creamery cake.
Well, it's time for your birthday shoutouts. Happiest of birthdays going out to Jarrett Cruz. Also, happy 9th birthday to Miley Jewel Yurko. Happy birthday to our princess. May all your days be filled with God's love and happiness. We're so grateful for God blessing us with your presence and light in our lives. This is your day, so get it, girl. Love and blessings from mommy, daddy, bro, and the entire Yurko and Piga familia and friends. Also, Viva Cumpleaños, Damien. May you have a blessed 23rd birthday. You have a bright future, young man. We're so proud of you. Reach for the stars. Go Air Force. Ginen todo y familia. Also, love and birthday shout outs going out to Vanessa Ayenko. Love you, baby sister. I hope you have an amazing day. Wish I could be there with you today. Also, birthday shout outs going out to Mark Vincent Kanata Evangelista. Happy birthday and cheers to many more. With love from your Kanata family. Also, birthday shout outs going out to Irene Mesa. Wishing you many blessings and love from your family. We love you, Mom. Also, to Casey Arceo Idolor and Davina Arceo Alvarez. These are my happy tears because I'm thankful for God for sending daughters like you to me. May this year bring you both plenty of reason to smile and endless opportunities to make you both happy. Happy birthday, my piece of hearts. Love you forever from Mama, and happy birthday from Papa Joe and the Familia. Also, belated birthday shout outs going out to Stephen Blake. We want to wish you a happy birthday coming from the family, and we love you. And a big congratulations to this week's winner of the Cold Stone Creamery birthday cake. Birthday shout outs going out to Bruce Ekfaji, who celebrated his birthday on February 20th.
And should we have the Guam High Panthers give us one last send-off?
Yes, that's our show, the Fresco Friday. Panthers?
Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. You can hide Panther Pride.
KUAM News Hotspot is brought to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
The menu, brought to you by King's Restaurant, always open, always local, and Ruby Tuesday Guam, home of the Fresh Garden Bar.
More than 25 years after Guam leaders first established an agency to lead the restoration and redevelopment of the capital city of Hagåtña, a master plan has finally been approved. A public hearing was held in November, and after submission to the legislature, it eventually lapsed into law after senators took no further action. But Hagåtña Restoration and Redevelopment Authority Executive Director Lasha Kasil clarified that the plan is separate and distinct from an implementation plan. It does not include or authorize specific projects, let alone multi-million-dollar developments. Kasil says the master plan is more about policy and structure and how to engage with the public. It covers design guidelines such as colors, shapes, and materials to be used on the eventual buildings and structures that will go up around the capital city as it's redeveloped. Kasil says there's been lots of discussion about $500 million in potential projects, but building them will come down to the availability of funding. In fact, Kasil says that raising money through such things as federal grants will need to be their main task going forward. All right, Ed Humphrey, everyone, and we are joined now by the chairperson of the HRRA, the Hagåtña Restoration and Redevelopment Authority, Ms. Maria Leon Guerrero, and the executive director of HRRA, that's Lasha Kasil. Thanks for joining us.
Hafa Thanks for having us.
Okay, let's start out with this whole idea about the approval process. I know that there are some in the legislature who say, wait a minute, we didn't approve anything or that sort of thing. Take us through that process and tell us exactly what was approved. Whoever wants to start.
Vasa, you want to take that one?
Okay.
Sure. So I believe that in October, my board approved the latest edition of the Hagåtña Master Plan, and we submitted it to the governor. I believe it was in September, and in accordance with our enabling law, and I'm pulling that up right now, it does state in there that the authority shall submit the plan to the governor, who, if he approves this, he or she approves the same, shall transmit the plan to the Guam legislature in the form of a bill for adoption, amendment, modification, or rejection by the Guam legislature. Such plan shall not be effective until either approved by statute, or it shall have complied with the provisions of this law and 45 calendar days have elapsed from the date of receipt by the Guam legislature of its transmittal, and 2 legislative days have elapsed after the elapse of the 45 calendar days. So on December 5th, 45 calendar days had elapsed, and the legislature was in session on December 6th and 7th. And therefore, in accordance with the law, on December 8th, the Hagatna Master Plan did lapse into law.
Right. But you were saying that it's not the actual plan itself, it's more the policy. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. So the plan itself, it's more policy and structure and how we deal with the public, how we deal with the inter-office agencies, all the stakeholders. It deals with the personality of what we're trying to create here in Hagatna. It's completely separate from the implementation plan. The Hagatna Master Plan, it consists of the design guidelines that will guide the colors and the shapes of the materials that we want to use in our public places. And it also is included in there is the map atlas, which is the baseline for what we're creating in Hagatna. Where are we starting from? I know a lot of people get very, very interested in the projects, but that's completely separate from the Hagatna Master Plan itself. Right. We couldn't approve, the projects, there are conceptual, there are $500 million worth of projects. There's no way that we could have passed that through the legislature. We'd have to look for funding, we'd have to look for resources. So it's completely separate. And I know a lot of people think they're both in the same, but they're not really.
Yeah, and I think that was the confusion. Yeah, Maria?
Yeah, I was going to add to that. So what has actually lapsed into law are 3 subcomponents, if you will, of the master plan. So Lasia touched on them, by the way. So one of them is the design guidelines, which is more like an aesthetic guide, right, for building and all the different aesthetics of the city. The second one is the map atlas, which is kind of a basically it's got like a land use and zoning end state, a desired end state, right? And then the third one is the land use plan, I believe. Is that right, Lasia? The 3?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. So and as Lasia mentioned, it is more they are more kind of like a framework, a policy framework. Now, the individual projects, there is a portfolio of proposed projects, but as Lasia mentioned, those were not included in what was passed into law. Those would have to be addressed, one by one as resources and priorities change. So that comes later.
Right. So I think if the concern was that the plan was approved as opposed to just the segments of it, I think that might help mitigate what those concerns are, I would imagine. All right. So we have to take a quick break, and then we'll be back to talk a little bit more about the plan right after this break.
Buenos Zenhafides. As you all know, our islands had a very successful year, and I'd love to hear about all of the progress we've made. Skylar, why don't we start with you?
We've helped over 1,200 Guam kids and their families pay for childcare.
And that's over $5.5 million in childcare costs so far. Over 130 after-school and community care programs have received grant funding for programs like swimming.
And cycling.
And soccer. And jiu-jitsu.
We've also graduated 3 cohorts
in our provider certification program at GCC.
And certified over 75 relative care providers.
Looks like we have a message incoming.
Kids, I just want to say congratulations on all your successes this past year.
Thank you, Governor Lou. We couldn't have done it without you.
Keep up the great work.
He's ready for recess.
This ad is paid for with funds administered by the Department of Public Health and Social Services.
All right, and we're back now with the chairperson of the board for the HRRA and the executive director. That would be Maria Leon Guerrero and Lasha Casil, respectively. All right, let's talk about the HRRA because it was established, as I understand it, back in 1997. So it's been more than 25 years now, Maria, since the agency or the authority was stood up. What has taken so long, and where are you guys now in this whole continuum of trying to restore the capital city of ours?
So from my understanding how the HRRA came about, it was really a lot of these big legacy names in business, these post-war business giants, the Leon Guerrero family, the Calvo family, the Adas, I believe the Moylands, and some others. They came together and they had this vision that they wanted to restore our capital city. I think there may have been another name for the group that when it first came together. But the HRRA, I think, was made as an official agency, as you mentioned, somewhere about 25 years ago. I can't speak to all the things that they did, but I do know that when we were impaneled in 2019, that in the Calvo administration, they had secured the redo a master plan. There was an iteration of it that had been done prior to the Calvo administration, but it never got off the ground. But at the Calvo administration, they got the money, they contracted with Matrix to substantially complete the plan. And when we came into the picture, the tasks had been completed by Matrix, but had not been formally adopted by the board or approved by the governor or the legislature. So that's kind of where we picked up, where the former board left off. And a lot of the time that our first 2 years was really digging in, getting to know the elements of the plan because the board that was on there, most of us were new to it. And then we had to spend a lot of time socializing the plan with all of the new agency heads, all the new leadership, because again, their predecessors may have been involved in the plan, but all of those directors didn't necessarily know the details of it. So that took a big Inafa Maulik effort, as I like to call it. And we started that prior to the pandemic, and we continue doing that through the pandemic. And we got to a point where we solicited and reviewed and compiled the feedback from all of the stakeholders and incorporated it, and then got to a point where the board was comfortable to approve and send it to the governor for her review. So right. That's kind of the history.
All right, Lasha, is there anything else you can add to the background of and the mission of HRRA?
Yes, as the chairwoman said, that there was a nonprofit that had come together in the mid 90s that formed the foundation for HRRA, and it consisted of that the major business leaders here in Hagatna. And that was in 1997, but nothing was really done until 2005, when a local architectural firm was contracted to start the master plan, but funding fell through. And so I believe it was in 2015, under the Calvo administration, they used funds from the hot bun to revisit that master plan that had been started and built on that. And when we inherited it, we had all the documents, but there was no support from the previous board. There were no minutes. There were no anything to support this plan. So we had to dive back into it and reach out to all the stakeholders. And we were nearing completion in the early 2020, and then COVID hit, and that kind of put a little pause on it for us, and the board did approve it last year and submitted it to the governor and she approved the first version, and we submitted it to the legislature. Unfortunately, they vetoed it the first time. We took all their comments and feedback over the summer. We edited it. We resubmitted it to them again, and still we weren't able to satisfy them.
Yeah, I understand there are some concerns that just some technical issues. For example, as you guys know, a lot of the lots in Hagåtña are fractional, different ownership issues. A part of the capital city is near swamp land area where there needs to be additional boring, for example, for the foundations. Are those things that you guys have been able to overcome, or how have you addressed those sorts of issues?
I can address that. So regarding the swamp, one of the initiatives of the HRA is the river feasibility study. That's always a big, the flood zone, right, is always a concern when it comes to doing construction in Hagåtña. So we actually do have some funding that is earmarked specifically to complete that study, and eventually it will be done. However, the thing is that it doesn't hinder development from happening. It's something that needs to be taken into account, but it's just kind of what we've been dealing with. And as you can see, there are a number of new developments that have gone up over the years in Hagåtña, the Nambos building, the new Community First building, the Chamber of Commerce building. So you have a number of examples of how developers have been able to overcome it. So it's not really a showstopper, but it is something that needs to be addressed over the long term, and we're making some moves to address that. Remind me the other question. What was it?
Fractional. There's a lot of fractional lots and ownerships, and I guess
there are, and particularly in the kind of like the Santa Cruz and Anigua area, there are many fractional lots in that area. But if you look at the proposed portfolio of projects, HRA was very careful to make sure that the projects that are proposed would be located on government-owned land, first of all, and in areas that would not be contentious, such as the ones that you're mentioning. So for the most part, the big projects that are proposed would avoid the fractional lots where there would probably be some difficulty in moving those forward.
Yeah, and speaking of contentious, Lasha, has the HRRA made it a point to try and reach out to neighboring landowners to make sure they're on board too with what the HRRA is trying to accomplish eventually? Have you
community engagement has been key since the very beginning. As soon as we got the funding for this project, Matrix was brought on, our developers for the plan, and they put out charrettes, which, with the development of any type of plan, a charrette is when you reach out to the community and you get their input. You get all their advice, you hear what the community wants to have done. And there were several days of charrettes that were done over in the old Terwalahi building where Kaha was, where they invited the public. It was publicly announced via KUAM. There were lots of interviews, I believe, that were done. Newspapers, governor had put it, Calvo had posted it on his Facebook. Senators had posted it up. And so there were flyers that were sent out, invitations to all the senators, and they all came. And during those several days of charrettes, we got the public's input on what the city should grow and look like. And if you look inside the land use plan, all of their comments have been incorporated in the index. You can see their names, their comments, what they wanted to have put in there. And that's how the master plan was shaped. So I think it's false when we hear, people say that people aren't being informed. I highly disagree with that.
All right, we got to take another break, but we'll be back to talk about more specifics of the actual plan to revitalize and redevelop our capital city, Hagatna, right after this break.
The wait is over, Guam. The all-new state-of-the-art car wash is now open at Cars Plus. Introducing Finish Line Express, open 7 days a week. The all-new cashless drive-through car wash can accommodate vehicles such as lifted Jeeps and full-size pickup trucks. Just roll up, pick a wash, insert credit card, or show your EverWash app and roll through. Plus, power vacuums are available to clean the interior. Show your vehicle some love today at the all-new car wash at Cars Plus in MIT. Open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week.
All right, and we're back in our discussion with Maria Leon Guerrero and Lasha Casil of the HRRA, the Hagatna Redevelopment and Restoration Authority. All right, I wanted to talk about the specific projects that are planned. Is there a specific order in which you want them accomplished, and talk about the funding of those? Because I guess that will be the key going forward is if we've got money to do all these things that we have planned. Maria, let me start with you.
Sure. So when we came into this, we inherited a kind of a laundry list of potential projects. And of course, there are new ones that are, that are being proposed from time to time. And so what the Board of Commissioners did is we came up with a simple rubric to try to prioritize these opportunities. So factors such as, what would be the estimated timeline to completion? What's the rough order of magnitude of the cost? And then also strategic fit. So looking at our mission and our vision, right? Which is, I should know this one off the top of my head, but it's basically there's a cultural restoration aspect, there's an economic development aspect, right? And so we looked at all of those things and all the opportunities and said, okay, how big of an impact will it make for those priorities? So we took a look at that. We ran everything through, and then we got a nice prioritization list. And it includes, what I like about it is includes some kind of big ticket projects and some more, I guess, more achievable things, more things that we could maybe attain faster. So a nice balance of quick wins or quicker wins, if you will, and some more, I guess, bigger aspirations. So maybe, Lassia, I'll turn it over to you to talk about what sort of rose to the top of our list.
Sure. Yeah. So just to be in more detail, the factors that we looked at, what our mission statement here is at HRA, and the four things that really stood out in looking at these. We looked at, does it support affordable housing? Because that's in our mission statement. Does it create jobs, the project? Does it promote Chamorro culture? Or are there recreational opportunities? And we gave a score of 1 to 4 for all of those things. And there's certain things that just rose to the top. We're able to look at, if we want to look at one of those things in order, the thing that rose to the top the most was, bringing back recreational activities in Hagatna, and that's where we came up with the Serena Festival. We looked at this cultural asset that hadn't been capitalized on. It's a part of our history and culture. Serena is we have Serena Plaza in Hagatna. There's a statue there. We have a story, and that's where that festival kind of popped up. So the priority projects were that was one. Another one is the Heritage Trail, and that scored high on our rubric. So we actually just met with some planners recently, and we're looking at trying to update the Heritage Trail and really making Hagatna like the heritage destination for tourism. We're looking at the land resources building, re-centralizing all these government agencies into one building down here that will help save us in the long run, rent money, and as well as creating this mass here in Hagatna that will kind of resonate outwards and create more jobs, for cafes. If we have 1,000 people working in Hagatna, we're going to need services. Another project that rose to the top was restoring the Governor's Palacio. And we that's another thing that we just met with our planners recently to look at. So those were the 4 priority projects for this year.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of the Matrix video. I think showed a really nice flyover of some of the projects that had been envisioned, such as I think it's the River Walk is one, and there's something at Gatnia Boat Basin, maybe even a hotel there. Are all those still in play, and but will require slowly building up to those?
Yes. They're all still on the list, but as we mentioned previously, each of those would come with its own price tag. So we would just need to really explore, okay, what are the funding opportunities? And as at this point, we only have a rough order of magnitude estimate of what those would cost. And mind you, this was all pre-pandemic, so those would all need to be revisited as well.
Yeah. Speaking of funding, so how would the money be raised? Would it be an appropriation from the government? Would be there separate private fundraising? How's that going to happen?
I think it really depends.
So
go ahead.
Sorry. So I just want to reiterate that now that we have a master plan in place, that lays the foundation for us to access millions of dollars in federal funds. We've been meeting with federal partners over the past few months, from HUD, that want to invest in Hagatna because it's considered a distressed city. But they were not willing to move forward until we had a plan in place. And now that we do, there's so many types of grants that we can access. So that really is the foundation for restoring the city. And most of those funds we're going to look for are outside of Guam.
Yeah. All right. Marie, you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I think Lasia pretty much nailed it. Right now our operating budget is via government appropriation, but our long-term goal is to be self-sustaining and move away from that and really tap into federal funding sources and other grant opportunities, which is how a lot of community development gets funded in the mainland, and we want to avail of that.
All right, we're going to take it one last break, and then we'll be back to wrap up the show right after this.
It only gets better with more. Customize and save with the fastest internet speeds in the Marianas by adding mobile, phone, and TV to your bundle with Business Bundles Plus. Docomo Pacific Business. Work better together.
All right, we're back, and we've got a couple of minutes left. So let me ask you to start, Maria. Just tell us why it's so important that we revitalize and redevelop our capital city of Hagatna.
Absolutely. Nestor, I would like to, if possible, just read what our mission is so that people really understand why we're here. So the mission of the HRRA is to revitalize, promote, preserve, and protect the heritage and economic vitality of the city of Hagatna by expanding the supply of low and moderate income housing, employment opportunities for the jobless, underemployed, and low-income persons, and to provide an environment for the social, economic, and psychological growth and well-being for all our citizens. So this is a mouthful, but essentially the way I like to distill it is to make Hagatna a vibrant place to live, work, and play. And it is definitely something that we should strive for. This is our capital city, and we need to restore the vibrancy and the pride and the life into our capital city. I know for anyone who was here when we had FestPac, we kind of got a glimpse into that, like how alive our city could be, right, with that energy. And that's what keeps me going. And I know that it can be a huge, huge asset to our people in terms of economic development, in terms of education, having a sense of a place and identity that would really serve visitors and locals and academia and our children. So that's kind of what keeps me passionate about that it's worth it. And yeah, I'm very excited about what we could achieve. And all we need is the right resources and people and elbow grease coming together to make it happen.